At Pelican Hill, we have a wide variety of design features and many different things we were able to incorporate in the design. Included with that would be the different colors, the different textures of grasses, the different types of vegetation that we have. And in many cases, the vegetation was selected as well because of its variety and its individual character. Here at Pelican Hill, we have the blend of all those issues. And again, whether it's the ocean, whether it's the elevation change, whether it's the vegetation, whether it's the texture of the grass, the contours and elevations and the slopes and the features in each individual golf hole, whether it's the native sand bunkers or the formal sand bunkers, we have all these different things as incorporated in the design that makes it for a very distinctive and unique golf course. It's interesting to listen to golfers have opinions about their places they've been and the places they play, and it's very nice to sit around or run into people. You run into people in an airport or some other place, another state, and people will say, well, I was at Pelican Hill last week and I played it and I just thought it was sensational, and they go on, and I really have a hard time even asking them a question because they don't give me a chance to talk. They keep talking about it, keep talking about the view and the setting and the environments. Everyone I've talked to have been to Pelican Hill and they just can't wait to get back there and play again. If I were giving some tips to golfers coming to Pelican Hill, the first thing I would tell them, make sure the beauty of the environment doesn't distract you from playing the game that you came to play. Also, because golf is such a difficult mind game, you do have to look at this golf course in such a way that it's not as difficult as it looks. Then I'd also say that if you think your way around, there's a lot of places that you can play to that actually play away from where a hazard feature may be, whether it's a ravine, a bunker, or an elevation contour. So it really is a thinking person's golf course, and there's so many different options and ways to play the golf course. And if you let the hillsides and some of the slopes and ravines help you by using those slopes and hillsides to bounce the ball towards the green areas, to the center of the fairway, there's a lot of areas and slopes that actually will be your friend. 11th hole was one of those holes that was always on the plan and never changed. It was such a natural feature and setting. We start up high from elevation and we're playing down low to the ocean. It's pretty much of a straight golf hole, and that was done purposely because we wanted to capture the view of the ocean directly from the tee. And so when you're standing on a tee, it's an automatic wow factor of, wow, this hole is maybe the best hole I've ever seen. And the interesting thing about Pelican Hill, you probably said that about the 10th hole when you just came from 10, then after you leave 11, you go to 12 and say, no, this is the best hole I've ever seen. You go to 13 and you go, no, that's the best hole. So that's the whole process that evolves here at Pelican Hill, and certainly that gets into this being one of our signature holes, but it just so happens to be that we have so many of them, this fits in to be one of those unique special golf holes. Well, the bunker details here at Pelican Hill are certainly, I would call them significant individual and special features of the golf courses. I also refer to bunkers as a little bit of the frame on the picture. So when you stand on the tee and you look at the golf hole, you look at the fairway, the shapes and forms and the elevations of the bunkers are a very important part of the golf hole. When choosing sand for bunkers, there are several details we look for. One of those probably is the most important and premier, the playability and how the ball reacts to the sand as it comes down, especially when you're playing against the wind, so the ball doesn't bury and get the classic fried egg lie. Now, obviously, sand bunkers are hazards. You're not allowed to ground your club, so we're not trying to make it easy, but we're also not trying to make it overly difficult, and we're trying to make it fair. The next criteria that we look for is certainly the color, and how the color and then the blending of that sand presents the visual and sets up the golf hole. So here at Pelican Hill, we have the finest grade sand that incorporates both of those design and playability characteristics are most important for us. Here on the south course of Pelican Hill at our 13th hole, we have a very distinct and special type of golf hole. What we were able to do, we actually built 2 greens on this golf hole, and based on where we put the tee placements is how strong the golf hole could set up and how it would play. The majority of people that play at Pelican Hill, if you ask them about the 13th hole, and then automatically they're going to say, oh, you mean the hole with the 2 greens? And then you get what I call the cocktail talk after the round. Well, you know, I played the pin on the left green today, and a couple days ago I played the one on the right, and I think the one on the left's harder than the right. Someone else says, well, I think the one on the right's harder. And you get into that discussion and opinions and conversation about golf that also makes it distinctive. So of all the golf holes, hundreds and hundreds of golf holes I've had the opportunity to be a part of, I'd say this particular golf hole, 13 at south course of Pelican Hill, is one of the unique and most distinctive golf holes that you can play. The differences between the 2 courses, the north and the south, are very different in the sense that we were able to wind and route the south course through some of the lower contours of the land, and then also bring it down closer to the ocean and actually bring it right to the ocean edge and parallel along the edge of the ocean. Then we wind back up to the hill. Where on the north course, we have all ocean view. We have tremendous, spectacular ocean settings, ocean views, but they happen to be all on top of the hill and a few holes down in some valleys, so we have a whole different feeling, where the golf course on the north is literally more open and it's wider and more wider vistas, where on the south course we've been able to funnel the views and target the views through some narrow corridors of vegetation that's been planted and bring the golf holes down to the ocean. So it has a totally different kind of a setting. Here on the south golf course at our 13th hole, where we have 2 individual separate greens. This hole happens to have 2 greens because we wanted to take advantage of the ocean, and it gave us the opportunity to have some variety and uniqueness. At our 12th hole, which happens to be a par 3 as well, we have 2 par 3s in a row. On paper, that could look like a challenge. Why would you have 2 par 3s in a row? Well, we wanted to get maximum exposure to the ocean, so we put 2 golf holes on the ocean rather than 1. And this ocean environment just is our special feature, that no matter where you turn, and even when you're standing on the tee, the next hole, hole number 15, that plays away from the ocean back up to the towards the clubhouse area, most of the people are standing on the tee and they're hoping that somebody's in the fairway, so they have to pause and wait a little bit so they can stand and just look at the environment and the setting. It's not often that a designer has a chance to go back and re-look at something that they've been involved in the creation from the beginning, especially in a great weather climate like Southern California, because there's literally no downtime generally. So the golf course is always out there ready for play. But having this opportunity to come back and tweak and update and renovate and add and prune and trim and do all the detailed things that we've been able to accomplish here at Pelican Hill this season, it really is special. It's hard to imagine you can have something that's considered and ranked so highly in the world of golf, and here we are and have an opportunity to make it better. The beauty and the visuals throughout the entire property are sensational. And over a period of time, because of the amount of vegetation that was planted and all the natural plants that grow, we always have to go back and make those little, we call them haircuts sometimes, we call them replanting, and sometimes even eliminate some vegetation because it grows so much. I hope this place is never finished so I can always come back. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be a part of it, to work at it, to come here. Sometimes you have to use the excuse to come in here to play it just so I can make some recommendations so we can come back more often, because this is one of the great places of the world. So I'm not sure that the Pelican Hill will ever be finished, in my mind at least.